Go!
So it's going to be a bank being banned out by Unnamed. Barrage, they went for a clubhouse ban. Unnamed, Villa ban. Barrage, consulate ban. It was left with Border, Coastline and Oregon. Border got the boot from Unnamed. It was left between Coastline and Oregon was the pick. So nothing really out of the ordinary. The very strat-heavy maps being eliminated straight away by both teams. Then we were left with the three most picked maps in the entirety of Siege, which is Border, Coastline and Oregon. And we will be headed to a very big 50-50 map in the inside of Oregon.
Now you get to see the bans coming through. Always one of my most favourite parts when it comes to these games because it just kind of sets the tone for how the rest of the game is going to go. Of course, if one of those stronger operators gets left open, it can change the whole dynamic of a match in terms of how the defenders are going to be playing it. So far, seeing Lion and Glaz come through, followed that by Echo. Maybe not the most common of bans that we see coming out, thinking that there's things like Maverick still in the mix as well, and of course Smoke is there too.
I can definitely, for Oregon, I expect these bans simply because of the utility that they bring. You said touched upon Maverick. Maverick's not that strong for this map, simply because there's not a lot of destructible walls that he can really use and abuse. Typically, it's more hatch orientated, so he's not the best at getting rid of hatches. I don't really expect to see Maverick being played. If there is, and sure, go for it. But it's not the biggest worry for me. Those bans, literally, that sums up what Oregon is. You ban Lion because, of course, it's Lion. When do you never not ban him?
In the first series of today, apparently.
That's true. That is very true. And then you see the Glaz ban coming out because we know how heavy smoke grenades can be on that laundry room attack. So that's why you're getting rid of that big old massive threat. So the two most banned operators being banned out, no surprise. And then Echo because he is so good for the downstairs and defending that with the plant denial and what have you. And then Clash just because it's Clash.
Well, we covered this game on the weekend and we saw a bit of use of Maverick in there for being able to blow torch open hatches. It was more of a necessity, should we say, than a decision being made and consciously made, it felt in some cases. And this is interesting as well. We've seen Jackal getting swapped out for Capital, and on the weekend again, we saw quite a bit of Capital when it came to playing on Oregon. Why is he so popular on this map?
Well, I would say mostly just because of the aspect of he can really get those fire arrows into really nitty-gritty locations, very tight-knit positions. If you're talking about the downstairs, and certainly he can capitalize off that potential mirror window, which has been let free quite surprisingly. Also underneath the stairs is another one as well. For the upstairs, you're expecting some very heavy kids window pushes. He's great at, getting some fire arrows in those kind of, those anchor positions inside of kids. That potential blind spot position between both of the windows, he's very good at getting rid of whoever may want to play there. And also just the utility that the smoke brings as well is always going to be handy because it cannot be stopped by ADSs, which is quite surprising. We're not seeing a Jaeger being brought to the table from Unnamed.
Normally always see at least one Jaeger just because of all the utility that it, they have to exchange in order to get rid of those ADSs. So powerful when it comes to blocking in those big assaults. I'm very curious to see how Unnamed choose to play this one because in the last series, but the defending side of when the guys were on defense, what they saw them coming out with most of the time was sitting in anchor positions, refusing to move and holding the floor above where the bomb was. In this case, they choose to hold the meeting room. Well, there's a hatch there that can be open, but they can burn so much time by just sitting there and waiting to see where the attackers come from before making their move. And of course, a large part of this is also going to be where we see the attacking side come from. Do they funnel towards one position, or do they mix things up and kind of learn from the mistakes that we just saw Wind and Rain employ in their last series?
So this is a very heavy, aggressive meeting hold that these players of Unnamed are trying to hold. Essentially, they have a more extended hold in towards the meeting. It's never uncommon that we see a meeting hold being implemented because you kind of need to waste that little bit of time, make the attackers waste utility, don't give them that free access to that meeting room. So having that extension in towards that kitchen area just makes it so Barrage, they have to waste more utility, they have to waste more time, and then they also have to go and try and attack the meeting as well. So it's as if you're attacking two potential off-site holds. And you do see Jogger, he's going to be in a very good position as a Vigil because you can hide yourself from those drones, and with a very strong gun in the K1A, can do a lot of damage at some very long-range distance as well.
I think looking for him just to cause some issues there. Already the fact that he's shot a few, fired a few shots off. My God, words are hard today. Just trying to get those few shots up.
Yeah, we're having a hard time.
It is, mate. I don't know, mate. It's in my old age, apparently. The memory's going, my vocabulary is deteriorating.
That's why. You're just saying quad tank.
There's no quad. We'll wait until there's a lot of tanky boys in the field in this, but in this case, it's not so much the case.
Oh.
That's a pretty scary sight.
Yeah.
Someone running at you with a mask and a hammer about to club you to death.
Yeah, it's nearly Halloween time. That wouldn't be surprising. Not the first time.
Yeah, I miss the days when it's just skeletons and pumpkins and stuff. These days, it's all kinds of murderous intent.
I'm going to dress up as an operator.
Yeah.
Matt Andrews could come as Pulse.
That's an easy one.
Very easy.
Who would you be?
I know. Big boy?
Big boy? Rook?
Don't know. Can't speak French.
Alright then. Learn it.
Don't really know.
You got a few weeks. But you know who hasn't got a few weeks? Wits. He gets brought down by Mac in the first kill of the round, but 2 members of Unnamed are so low right now. Make that 3, they're almost all down. Barrage could potentially come in here and sweep away with this one, but Boo, he goes for the defuse and he sticks with it as well and gets himself down.
Yeah, that's where the smoke comes in so big in these last couple of seconds. Kizza will take up position and where his fallen teammate just died. No gas canister to ever for Madman. Great cover, great shot, and Mac pushes in and does eliminate Kizza, as it will be down to Willow, who is in no position to try and stop this diffuser. Goes for the peak, but there's just too many angles and too many players. The Wolf Pack comes in and just shuts down Willow, and diffuse will come in. And that will be Unnamed with a very good retake, solid kill, solid cover. And Barrage will go 1-0 down.
Too many men. Probably the best way to describe that. The suppression fire coming out of the defenders as well, providing excellent cover as the diffuser went down. And also on the attacking side as well, to be fair, it was the same sort of story there. Obviously didn't play out in their favour with that smoke grenade, not quite managing to catch Capital and bring him down. But as expected, first round goes across to Unnamed, but Barrage definitely not coming up weak in this game, it feels like. That was a pretty good round from those, all things considered.
Yeah, they did have, you know, that good stability where they had the plant being established. Of course, those smoke canisters was, you know, the huge big detrimental impact. You can really see, you know, that the strength of not having the Jaeger as an attacker where you don't have to worry about those ADSs, and then Ying can be so heavily used. That just shows that, you know, Ying can really turn the tides in battle, and especially in a very close range map such as Oregon, she can do a lot of damage. And especially leading into an upstairs hold, then yeah, these Candelas will be a big issue, but this time we will see the Jaeger being brought out.
Few changes coming in, like you say, the Jaeger, probably the thing that we were missing in the last round that you had some concerns about. And somewhat rightly so. Unnamed, nearly lost 3 members, all down to the blinking health bars, literally a few HP remaining. All it would have taken is a bit of spray from one of the members of Barrage, and suddenly that could have been a very different ending to that round. But this time round, playing it much safer, bringing the Jaeger, bringing the rifle, bringing the ADS as well, just to make sure that they can deal with potentially the spam coming in, and rightly so, because on the other side, well, Kishar and Boo, they've all got some explosives to bring to the party.
So we do have, of course, that Mira being brought, as she was not banned out.
You thought she'd be banned all night long?
I did think, mostly because it is just
you thought
Mira.
Wrong.
And what?
You thought wrong?
I didn't think wrong. I just.
Oh, you did. You thought she'd be banned out all night. She hasn't been banned out all night. Therefore, you thought wrong.
Well, she was banned earlier tonight.
Yeah, but not now though. You said all night. This isn't all night, is it? You look so perplexed. Seeing your face just melt into an utter state of confusion and deliriousness is fantastic.
I remember now why I didn't like Castle Movie. I've now just, you know, that flame is now.
Hey, look. We got one map down without saying a bad word about each other.
Oh,
that's quite nice about you.
You missed that. Watch the action.
I'm watching the action because I was about to say Jugger isn't being very nice to Willow, and down he goes, one of the players from last season, nonetheless.
So, what was I going to talk about with the mirrors? So, essentially, we do see those aggressive mirror windows being placed inside of that armory area. It just means that that master bedroom take is just a lot harder to establish. But, as we can see, Barrage will not be trying to take control of that position. Instead, it will be a kid's bedroom push that I was mentioning about earlier, where Capitai can come in very handy.
Demo's bedroom.
Ah, don't stop.
I don't know, actually. You're a big boy now. You can have the master bedroom now. So, we'll call it kid's bedroom.
Room. That's the old man's room.
I'm in the retirement home now, mate.
That's true. You're not even here.
No, I'm not. Just here in spirit, not actually in body, but there we go.
Botox is really doing good stuff for you, I must say.
It's getting there. At least I don't grow facial hair. Unlucky, I guess.
I shave.
No, you don't.
Unbelievable.
Is this what you tell the kids at school to feel big on the playground?
Don't go to school.
I don't know about that, mate. You truant, you.
Siege is my playground.
Siege is my... Okay, okay, nice. I'll give you that one. One thing we're looking to see if Unnamed can do is take away this second round. Currently in that 5 versus 4. Again, seems to be very similar to the last game, where it's all okay about holding down those angles and feeling comfortable selling that place. Guidance Gaming, well, suddenly it all comes undone, and Tank Ninjas finds 2. Shady will change one back, but that feels more like a consolation prize for the 2 members they just lost. 3 across the whole round so far.
Yeah, not looking too good for Barrage. Shady trying to get his team back in with at least claw back a kill. He's using that LMG, quite an unfamiliar weapon. Typically, we're used to seeing that more M7, but nope, it will be that LMG. Wiz is going to try his best to get in towards the master bedroom, but just look how separated both these players are. Shady gets 1 kill onto Mates, but does he see the second player who is still lurking below? Madman will be in sight as well, trying to see if he can hold down a couple of the angles.
I think he may have seen him, which is why he backed away and just gone for the full rotate rather than trying to stick that one out. Once that angle is exposed and they know where you are, well, suddenly you're the one at the disadvantage trying to go for the big push in. And Tantin just going for a bit of a run out there for a second, like trying to see if anyone was lurking outside. The answer was no. Back on the point, Tantin Ninja's having one hell of a round. He gets himself 3 kills. Sugar picks up the last one. And Unnamed take that round away.
Yeah, fairly easy for Unnamed to sweep Barrage under the carpet. There wasn't anything that they had difficulty with. Sure, there was a couple of kills coming out from Barrage, but in the end, it just wasn't enough time for Barrage. You know, they lost the man count. They didn't get the refrags, what they needed to. And in the end, it will be Unnamed. You know, a bit of a similar style that we did see Guidance Gaming do earlier, where they do go 2 up. They will have to go for a bomb site, which I would say these other 2 bomb sites, either this kitchen and dining or that big tower and rear stage, very, very weak bomb sites in the current meta. Even in other maps, sure, you have to go to different bomb sites, but you look at the custom and tellers and bathroom, you know, I would say that they're a lot stronger 2 bomb sites compared to the ones we have here in Oregon, but we have seen some kitchen and dining halls actually work. It's going to still be difficult, and especially if they're not even going to take the Mira, which is quite surprising. You don't take the Mira whenever it is available to yourself. Bit of a weird one.
Maybe they're feeling with the way that's being played by the other side, it's not really in their best interest to take it away, because Barrage have once again doubled down on bringing the Ying, Capital, and Zofia to the party. Other side, they're thinking, well, you know what? I actually think when they're lacking a bit of breach here on this side, then we can go away with trying to bring in some castle reinforcements. The only problem there, of course, as well, is that you've got to deal with the fact there's a sledge and the thermite, kind of a waste, I guess, but it's one thing to consider. If they bring down Willow early on that sledge, a lot of that destructive power kind of gets removed. They might find themselves in a rough spot.
So essentially what these players of Unnamed are going to try and establish is more of a shower kind of hold where you would sit back and, you know, have this aggressive rotation as well, because that is a main area that attackers want to try and get themselves into position. It cuts off that big rotation cross in towards that dining double door, and especially whenever there's never, I don't think I've ever seen a B push in my life on Oregon. It's always open up that double wall inside of the small tower, and then walk on in and go and plant beside the sofa. So you really need to take control of that shower area first, because it just shuts down potential crossfires and potential C4s being chucked out from behind that little wall area as well with that table. So it's all down to see how Meads can really survive with the smoke.
Oops. This is out of the mine, so he will have been spotted out there. You see double ADS set up there at his feet as well, just to make sure he's especially safe from all the spam coming his way. Sat there waiting with the shotgun. Needs to be wary of any of the potential angles that might get discovered though. That Evil Eye out in force. There's doors open, bullets rain down. Things die, in this case the drone.
Yeah, just more drones being potentially wasted there. I'm liking the Maestro pick as well, and whenever Barrage they do take the Ying, that does help quite a bit, so you can really see where Ying's coming from. You give the callouts to your teammate, and it just kind of, you know, falls from there. It has, you know, pick up the pace. Typically for kitchen and dining, you don't need a whole lot of time. Definitely Barrage can slow it down to their pace and just how much they want to, you know, really use the utility, try and find out exactly. But eventually, you know, they're using a lot of drones, and they're losing a lot of drones just down to these Maestro cameras.
Pew, pew, pew. Fire in the laser, bringing them down. It does feel like the setup coming through from Unnamed so far is really kind of ground Barrage to a hope. Struggling to find their way in for the most part. Yes, they got some damage down onto Mead so far, but nothing really substantial enough to threaten going down just yet. He's got a great angle here as well. All it takes is a head to appear in that tiny little hole. That'll be a super easy kill for Meads.
Nothing we can really talk about. All quiet on the western front at the moment. But we do see a bit of action as Shady will get things started. Willow, just before he does get flashed by his own teammate, eliminates Meads. This is certainly going in the way of Barrage. Yeah, definitely going in the way of Barrage as Wiz just adds to that. So the diffuser will get planted. It's going to have to be the retake from Madman and Tank to make this work for Unnamed.
I was going to say, Tank Ninjas has had a fantastic game so far. 3 kills in that last round. As soon as a PQ and getting himself picked off, he should be fine. That was a huge miss-kill opportunity there. Madman here in a great position. Tank Ninjas goes down. He's in a lot of trouble here in a 1 versus 3. It looked like a great position. It turns out to be one at least, bringing down Boogie. But now he's got to do the 1 versus 2 and get the defuse down.
Yes, this is pretty much impactless kills. Tries to go for that run out where typically somebody should be stationed there at the single window. Not going to be the case, and Wiz will clean up house. And finally, Barrage, they do get themselves out of first gear and into at least second gear, I would say. But certainly looking better for Barrage.
Slowly and steady on the move. That's all they want. Make sure this series at least stays competitive for them to make sure that when it comes to the half, it doesn't come down to one round to decide how it all ends, essentially. And that was good, I got to say. I was worried at first for the first minute and a half that they barely moved. But what they spent the first minute and a half doing was burning through those ADSs, making sure everything was out of the way for their big rush in. And as soon as those 2 Candelas came out, you saw the go sign come through for the rest of the team. They pushed in. They got those opening 2 kills. Suddenly in a 5 versus 3, well, Barrage had the numbers advantage, and they just kept on pushing from there. And even with someone like Madman from last season's winners, like you say, couldn't quite turn things back around in their favor.
Yeah, that's the thing about, you know, the kitchen and dining. It's a very weak bomb site. It's very, very simple for the attackers to open up the wall and then plant behind that blind spot in towards that sofa area. Clash does make things a lot easier for the defenders in this bomb site, but we know that she is going to be banned, so that was never going to be on the table. So certainly something to watch out for in later dates. If we do have an Oregon where Clash doesn't get banned out, then sure, we can probably go a little bit more in depth, and you can see the difference that Clash does bring to the table for this particular, I would say, map in general. It's a very tight, close range, close quarter, where Clash really does excel as, you know, riot control operator, which is what she's brought in to do, is keep things confined, give that intel. And we will move on to, once again, another downstairs defense for Unnamed.
Matt this time licking his wounds and begging for forgiveness on previous mistakes. He's bringing the mirror back to the fore this time round, so not going to be abandoning one of those stronger picks that we speak about and that we often see an awful lot, is setting up downstairs in that oh-so-typical position that we always see in the downstairs basement.
So those mirrors will come into big effect, just like we did see them do the last round. We did have a downstairs defense, and certainly Madman playing on that smoke will come into big effect. Still no ADSs from a Jaegers. That's not going to be in the picture at the moment for Unnamed. Instead, they do value this roaming vigil that Jugger will be bringing. Potentially could get an early pick. Peaks do come in from Willow as the shots do get rattled back and forth, but nobody manages to land at least a scratch on one another, and Jugger will manage to fall back to that kitchen area like we did mention last time.
They're strong on that roam game, at least applying pressure and again slowing them down. Even a few seconds wasted can be enough to give you that small advantage when it gets to the last stages of the round. Still lurking upstairs as well, so they've got to be very wary here when trying to push in Barrage. If they push a bit too aggressively or a bit too quickly, well, it's going to be all down to Jugger to get those opening kills, and of course those drones being able to spot him out, it makes things very, very tough. Oh, it was almost going to be tough. I was going to say, he's at the top of the stairs and almost had the spray, but no one took the shot. Runs into the room, and then it works out in their favor.
Shady did lose a lot of HP from that engagement, but very easy for Wiz to get the reset onto that Sophia, so no harm done. For the most part, they've eliminated Jugger. That Vigil threat will be gone, but they still have to worry about, of course, all that utility on site. I'm liking the position that Mac has taken up. Very, very aggressive. Could potentially get himself a couple of kills as well. We could have potentially seen the mute jammer trick, where you could place your mute jammer on that table, denies the access, where you're going to either have to walk down the stairs to shoot that mute jammer, which then exposes yourself to a player like Mac, or you simply just bring the Thatcher. It could have been another strategy, which we do see implemented. Teams ban out Thatcher, so you can go for that mute jammer trick. Then you do typically then see Maverick being brought into play to completely stop that happening. Wiz will start, you know, getting himself set up, trying to bait out the majority of this utility that Madman does possess.
I think of that pushing now as well. A minute remaining on the clock, so not tons of time remaining, and already you can see Madman's being spammed by grenades. Everything being thrown at him here just to try and go for the push. My biggest concern here is all members are pushing from the same location. All it takes is a well-placed smoke to deny this. Out comes one to the bottom of the stairs. That will at least provide some zone denial. Straight in the corner. That will catch the diffuser most likely more than not. No one going down just yet. In fact, no, it missed. It fell short.
Shady will push in with that LMG, get another kill for himself, but Madman will respond with a kill onto Boogie. So Ying off the board, but she's done her job. Great angles as well being held by Sophia Kiza. Another kill from that position on the stairs. Still back and forth. Wiz, another kill for himself, playing very well in that Thermite, and it will be down to Meads in a bit of an winnable position. Finally got it out, but nonetheless, yeah, this is, you know, one of the hardest clutches that anybody can perform on Oregon. Tries to peek up, get a couple of kills for himself, but in the end just doesn't have enough time. Too many angles being held, and Shady, big round from him using that LMG.
Death from above, quite literally from the side of Barrage there as well. Once that hatch was open, I was concerned that they were all trying to gather around it and push down the same angle, but they just found that Unnamed were ignoring them. That angle that they held, you should be watching that when you're trying to push through into the main laundry area, but for the most part, Unnamed was too busy looking downstairs instead and found themselves caught out.
So the final round before we have that halftime switch. Unnamed, they will go for, once again, another downstairs defense. Looking at the kill, Shady. Big 7 drop from him. Madman and Tank still with 5 apiece. So they still have, that more kills. But yeah, definitely a lot on Shady at the moment for his team. And they could potentially sweep this back and, take those 3 rounds on the trot, give themselves that advantage leading into the defense. But the way that Oregon kind of does play is more of a heavy attacker-favored map, just because of, once you get yourself in position, you have all the utility in your hands, you have the smoke canisters, you try and beat out the utility C4s, what have you, just the exact same way Barrage have been doing it. Who's to say that Unnamed cannot bring the same setup and do exactly that back to them?
May well try. Remains yet to be seen. Very, very similar setup once again for Barrage, bringing in Candelas, as we saw them implement incredibly well on one of their last assaults. This is back downstairs again, mind you, where they had that strong play around the hatch itself. Unnamed, I'm pretty sure this time round, either won't be so willing to let them take hold of that hatch and start threatening from above, or they'll at least have some alternate strategies to deal with what they're trying to do. The Lurker worked out very well for them last time round, admittedly. This time round, though, they're not even bringing the Vigil to the table.
No, they have decided that, yeah, it's not working for them. It hasn't. He's just, he's not in the right position. He's not, I would say, roaming as much as a Vigil could. He's not winning the gunfights either. So certainly switching out for that Jaeger, which we were quite surprised that wasn't being implemented to stop those Yings going down, then yeah, sure, definitely. Also, we do see that mute jammer that I mentioned is going to be that that mute trick where you can place it on top of that that table and you deny access to the hatch. We know that there's no Thatcher and Barrage, and I'm pretty sure that the players from Unnamed have also realized, yeah, they don't have the counters to this, so we can go ahead and at least get ourselves this final round. They might not be ready for this mute jammer trick, but we'll see how Barrage can adapt and deal with this.
They know immediately being threatening as well, and this is always the scary part when you're facing down someone like this in a 1 versus 1 and you see a drone, is if you go for the drone, then, well, the push can come through very quickly and you find yourself looking the wrong way. It can hurt a little bit when someone fires a few free rounds into your head. No kind of huge setup. I mean, it was a bit of a scattered initial setup as well, because for Unnamed, they sort of found their position. They were like, yeah, okay, mute's going down here. And they're like, hang on a minute, let's rush the stairs instead and go and set up a bit more aggressively almost in terms of where they want to do things out. Again, not wanting to concede and give away that top ground so easily, I think, because they realized what happened last time round was, well, they got absolutely murdered when it came to that hatch being open from above.
Yeah, this is, you can see the slower push coming in from Barrage. They know that, yeah, we cannot just go over and get rid of that hatch just like we've done before, because it is going to be mute jammer, but actually they've managed to find a soft spot, because typically you can technically find a bit of an area where the explosive will actually cross over in towards that wall. So typically, I'm surprised that they didn't go up and shotgun that entire soft wall, so they could physically not put the charge anywhere but the hatch, and then you do run into that mute jammer area where you just cannot destroy it unless you have the Thatcher or the Maverick. Still, roamers unattended at the moment for Barrage. They have to possibly be aware of a late rotate coming in from that pantry area, but we do see that Kizza will be there holding the angles. Willow will start things off with a frag grenade kill onto Mead, so mute off the board, C4 off the board more importantly, and this is where Barrage can start using the utility, get themselves into a good position, but Madman does have those Maestro cameras he can play around with and can use those smoke canisters to essentially deny this plant for the foreseeable future, essentially.
You're going to make his position very much so. No, they know where he is now as well, so they can try and collapse on this. Needs to be careful. Potentially the drone behind him as well. I don't think he's aware he's even there yet, but manages to go in, and it's Kizza and Willow getting themselves a couple of kills, turning this into a 4 versus 2. Suddenly, everything has gone very, very wrong for Unnamed in these last 3 rounds, and Barrage, they're looking to go into the half as the stronger team right now. They've just got to clinch things out, but once again, Unnamed, they're not being quick enough to respond. They're conceding the high ground over incredibly quickly. Madman's trying, but he goes down. We're into a 4 versus 1 demo. I think this is Barrage going into the half 3-2 up.
Yeah, at this stage, there's nothing that really Matt can do. Sure, get yourself a couple of kills, but that's not really going to matter. Does eliminate Willow, he'll get a little bit frisky, gets a second kill for himself, but still, the angles are going to be held by Shady. And Barrage, they do just completely sweep those final remaining 3 rounds for their attacks, but then we will see the switch as Barrage will play on their defense, and then Unnamed will go into their attacks.
Decisive final 3 rounds in Barrage. The first 2 look quite decisive in favour of Unnamed. Good solid defences. Barrage still, as we said in that first round when it went down to the final 2 members, of Unnamed. It was still a pretty close series. You couldn't really write it off and say that round was a decisive victory for Unnamed. And Barrage showing you just how that was going to play across the whole of the match as well, because those final 3 rounds, very good aggressive play. Unnamed, I feel, dropping the ball a little bit when it came to that hatch above the point. I mentioned it a few times now, but even in that last round, they didn't learn from the mistakes. They were too busy watching downstairs again, and okay, in that situation, it's 50-50. Do you look at the stairs or do you look upstairs? But I think, realistically, the threat is probably going to be sat upstairs because it's a much more advantageous position. The number of angles that you can get is a lot better than just sitting on the stairs.
So we'll see how Barrage, they cope with their downstairs defense. Will they do anything different? Will they potentially play a little bit more aggressive on the roam game? Which, sure, we've seen a little bit of that from Jugger. Didn't do a whole lot, to be honest. He kind of tried to hold kitchen, but as soon as, even one flashbang got thrown in, he just like, oh, I'm out. I'm out of there. And he just fell straight back into the meeting. Barrage, they will be going for a similar strategy as that impact rate does tell us that, yeah, they're going to try and hold this kitchen as much as they can, just to delay that Unnamed lineup trying to push in. But I do believe that Unnamed will be just a little bit more deadlier on the attack, simply because they have the better assault rifles with the fragging potential that Madman can really lay down with the Capitao with the utility. No Ying being there, no Dokkaebi as well, which has been let through in the ban phase also. So it's going to be more just a very standard lineup. There's nothing there that you can say, wow, that's new. Very, very 5 basic and very stable operators to take this attack.
Yeah, one thing we haven't seen too much of lately is Hibana, to be honest, actually. Seeing her again pull through, not so much a heavy surprise, but definitely something to take note of, I feel. Double Breach hasn't really been super popular as of late.
Just taking their time as they usually do on Oregon. There's not a whole lot that we can really say that goes out of ordinary with Oregon. It's all about getting your drones in. Make sure that the drones are not sloppy. If you can let just even one roamer away with not being spotted on a drone, that could be detrimental for your entire attacking round. You're not going to be, you'd think, okay, everybody's nowhere near the west side or in towards the top side. That can be really big, in the final couple of seconds. Shady will be taking up arms inside of that big tower area. Also, you can see the Legion will be played inside of Meeting, but the drones will get sent in, and Jugger and Madman, I'm sure, will start pushing in together with these, very aggressive operators. The free speeds have really good guns. We've already touched on the R4C, but certainly that Para does have that little bit more slow rate of fire, but hits like a truck. That's what kind of makes up for it. Tank will get sprayed in through that big tower area. Always has to be careful of that window that can be shot from the very, very top of the tower, which did happen. And with only half the round still to go, still plenty of time, but they have to start moving, get baited out all of the utility. Jugger, he will get down by Willow, but not finished off as Madman will rotate and try and save the day for him.
Trying a bit of spray down there as well. Literally a few pixels to the left. You may have got something from that one, Madman, but gets his member back up. Jugger being punished a bit for the aggressiveness that he was at least showing on that initial push. And let's not forget, they've still got to siege the meeting room in this case as well. They've got the hatch open, but dropping down here can be a big risk when you do not have control of that meeting room. Jugger last time round, a bit slow on the rotation, the adaptation to get in there and threaten them when they were pushing into that room, but even now, they're getting into a spot to go quite aggressive.
See all of the intel that Wiz can really provide with that cardiac scanner. We see this a lot on different maps. Clubhouse, for example, even Bank inside of the gold vault can be a very big position. Shady still trying to put some pressure on this attack, as Willow also trying to push in from the other side. Jugger and Meads will get things started inside of Unnamed's favour, as Meads may also be looking for anybody on the flank. Kiza does get that smoke canister kill, as Boogie will be down. Wiz, double kill from him, pushes in through the stairs. Can he see the third? He sees him, but does decide to fall back as Jugger does finally get his kill onto Boogie. But Kiza will also square things off into a 2-on-1, as it will be down to Mead with only 8 seconds to go. He has to drop, try and get the diffuser. Panicking just a little bit, 5 seconds. He's not going to be able to find the kills, as Barrage playing very safe, playing very, very passive. Oh, and that will be Barrage. Another round for themselves, and they do just extend that lead with 4 rounds to 2.
Like I say, a bit of a panic there towards the end as well. Wasn't quite sure to go for the kills, which he knew he was never going to be able to find, because with a few seconds remaining, why on earth would you try and go for kills like that anyway on the other side? Then decided with 2 seconds remaining, okay, maybe the bomb's a great idea here. Nah, friend, just not quite enough time to make anything happen for you at the end. Shay, look at there as well. 8 kills on his side. Wiz on 5 with a big round towards the end of that one. Tank Ninja stopping up the leaderboard on the other side. Not really surprised. He has had some fantastic rounds so far.
I must also touch that I would say both sides, their roam game just hasn't been strong. It has really came down to more of the anchor positions inside the bomb site, which is quite surprising. Typically, the roam game comes into play a big effect inside of Oregon, because the anchors, they just kind of fall apart because of all the utility the attackers have over that. They have the Cadellas, you know, smoke canisters as well. They can walk on down, beat out all of, you know, the smoke, gas canisters, C4s as well, and then whenever it comes to about 40 seconds, oh, there's no utility left. We're going to have to try and push out, get the kills, but then you just get obliterated from that main lobby hatch. So certainly the roam game is something that both these teams have to look back on and think, how can we roam better? How can we set up a lot better and try and get those early picks? And especially if you can get a kill onto, you know, a Ying or a Kapitao, get rid of that utility very early on, then it does make your anchors have a lot easier job rather than trying to defend against an apocalypse of utility.
It's like you said though with the roam game, is that the one round I think we've seen an active lurker looking for those kills was the round with the Vigil. Outside of that, there was never any really aggression. Jugger was the biggest kind of culprit of this, I think, when he sat inside meeting room, just sat there and waited. And by the time he actually left meeting room to go and search someone out, well, 3 members had pushed onto the point, they got the defuse down, and Barrage were the ones to win away. The initiative just lacking a little bit on the roamers, like you said. I think that was probably the biggest example of it, where it really did punish Unnamed in that sense. Not that they'll get a second chance, of course, they are the ones on the attack, and it's Barrage who you're looking to now with the big roaming in. They've got Willow playing on that Legion, just going to try and catch out a member or two if he can. Unnamed so far, not really phased by it, not falling prey to the sneaky tricks of Mr. Willow. Quite happy to just take their time with a lot of these pushes, although admittedly when you're 4-2 down, you have to buck your ideas up.
Don't see a Buck, however, which is, you know, not uncommon as well. Buck does provide a lot of utility, especially with destroying that entire top floor from below. You can walk into that kitchen area, really mess things up with that skill. Okay, Madman does decide to bring out the Dokkaebi as well, so he's going to give out a couple of phone calls to these defenders, let them know that he wants some blood. He's calling up for some money that they owe. He's here to be the debt collector.
Debt collector Madman. Well, I don't really want a Madman to be a debt collector if I ever owed debt. I don't really fancy a man with a gun appearing at my house, being like, you owe me money, give. It's some creepy horror film where they ring you and they're just like, we're coming, and it's like, what do you mean? Like, we're coming for you, and it's like, no, please.
Yeah, and
Madman,
if they have a Northern Irish accent, it's even scarier.
Although, admittedly, I haven't been too afraid of Madman so far, because it hasn't been one of his strongest performances, I think you can say. In the cases maybe where last season would have stood in clutch in a 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3 situation, hasn't happened so far today.
PC is a lot harder, I would say, to clutch up compared to Xbox, just simply because of the skill level that does happen, and mostly because in PC, teams always trade back kills. You see a lot more of, you know, 5v5s going to a 4v4 into a 3v3. Those stuff starts to happen in PC. That's really why you don't see these mega clutches, because players just sit back and hold the angles with the ACOGs. That's what PC's all about, is holding the angles, having the better gun skill.
Nice.
And that's exactly what Jugger will put to the test, as he will eliminate Kiz, and a big kill as well. What's Smoke doing down there?
I want to know what the hell Kiz is even doing there, regardless of which operator is playing as well. Like, running into sightline of that doorway is just suicide when you know there's 2 people sat there waiting. And it's not they didn't know, they saw the shots come through earlier on.
Sloppy drone in this Boogie does pick up a double kill after did see Kiz fall. Another nail will be put in the head of Unnamed. Madman will also bite the dust, so down the Tank and Jugger, and they're both going to be separated from each other quite heavily. Tank is looking to try and repel in through the kids as Boogie, another kill for himself, a free K for that man. Tank down to 1 HP, pulls out the pistol, misses the shots as well, but then that will be Boogie, 4K for him, just picking one by one, and that really shows the strength that Maestro does bring with that LMG.
It feels like in every single round there is a new member of the team to shine and get 2 or 3 kills and really not so much carry the team through the round, but definitely be the shining star in the darkness for them. And you got to say, probably 3 cases, out of the 4 cases I can count so far, 3 of those members have been Barrage members. Unnamed, the team that we coined down to be the winners in this series, and I think the team that the fans took away to be the winner as well. They find themselves 1 round away from giving this series over to Barrage and forfeiting the, well, not forfeiting, but giving away the first map as a PC team who we expected to be more dominant.
To be fair, in the poll, 63% of people did believe Barrage would win.
Oh, fair play. This is the one game that went the other way. Everything else went to the left, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, it did. We'll talk about some of those percentages later on in the night. Some of them are very, very hefty as well.
Oh boy, we'll talk about that one at the end.
Oh yeah, I think everybody knows what team we're talking about at this stage. But yeah, Barrage, they do manage to snag themselves a point. Speaking to Willow, just in the Twitter DMs, he was saying, yeah, these first 4 weeks are going to be rough. They're doing pretty strong at the moment. They are looking very good teamwork. They're really fitting into their own playstyle, where I would say they're a lot more of a slower team, where they like to take things as slow as they can. Their anchors have been phenomenal, I must add as well. You know, they're holding down the site very well there. But then again, Unnamed, they're kind of just peeking one by one. They don't have crossfire set up. Sure, they're playing a lot more pace compared to what we've seen last matchup, but still, if you're not doing the basics right, where you don't have the crossfires, you don't get the refrags, like we've just seen Barrage, they are going ahead in terms of man count, and it has been stuck to, a lot of players have been named to clutch up these 1v4s, these 1v3s, where ideally, you at least want to get it down to a 1v1 to potentially win that round.
There's some big performances on the side of Barrage as well. Like, realistically, the only player I can't think of that has had a pretty strong round at any given time is Kizza. And that's not saying that he's played bad. Like, if you're not having the best day where you haven't got your carry pants on, I don't know, maybe you got dirty ones out of the laundry instead, he's still in a situation where his team are performing. He doesn't have to stand up every single week and shine. And that's true for any team, is that on some days you won't be the big hero your team needs. Your other team members can be that. For Barrage, well, there's quite a few members who are definitely stepping up and performing today, so no big worries there for them. One more round, like I said, to close this one out into that final potential 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the final round.
Potential final round.
Potential final round. Unnamed, I don't know, it started so well. They've lost 5 rounds on the bounce now, let's not forget, across both defending and attacking. Barrage, the ones who are riding with the wind in their sails, got the momentum behind them. Unnamed are the ones, in this case, on attack as well, and we've already seen that attackers have struggled in cases unless they manage to get the hatch open. The defenders then choose to ignore the hatch, but outside of that, it's been a relatively defense-dominated map.
This is still a very hard bomb site for the defending team to defend, like we did see Barrage to do against Unnamed earlier. Meads, he will bring out the Blackbeard for the first time inside of this series, and certainly Blackbeard can win those one-on-one gunfights, which potentially Meads may be struggling with, so pulling out the old Blackbeard with that shield could provide to be pretty big for his team, especially if the players of Barrage are going to get a little bit too risky for themselves, try and go for these aggressive peaks. Madman will try and get these crossfires set up, which we said they need to start doing. Plenty of time still. This is only a kitchen and dining. It's not as if you're attacking from upstairs. You still have a ton of time. You can bail out the utility. And a lot of members from Barrage are also going to be very weak.
Just about missing in there as well, skirting around those stairs. But most members of Barrage are sitting pretty static. No real big reason to move anywhere just yet. Manages to find his legs though. Wiz with a big mistake lying down there. Meads finds one. This could be Unnamed coming back into it. Yes, it is. 5 versus 3. Jugger finding Kizza. That means there's 3 members remaining on the side of Barrage. One's outside as well. And Willow, all right, manages to bring down one, but is it going to be enough? Because now that the defuse is down, the onus is entirely on the other side to bring this one back.
Madman in a very strong position to try and uproot this. These final defenders. Tank just adds another kill for himself. And there we go. Madman, like I did just talk about, does get himself that kill on Mac. Clean things up with the Thermite, and this is exactly what I talk about in terms of the dining and kitchen. Once the defenders plant the bomb, you're never going to retake that bomb site.
Very, very tough one, like you say. And well, Unnamed get the win they were looking for. They slow Barrage down, they take the round back in their favor. And it was a very slow played round. I mean, for most of it, we saw how long those gun exchanges are going from outside inwards, and you saw a good 4 orange outlines sat just inside the camera's area, implying that realistically, Barrage weren't looking to move. They were quite happy sat where they were in those anchoring positions, but still didn't manage to hold on to it for long enough.
So can Unnamed potentially pull back these final 2 rounds to get that draw? It will be still very, very tough, and whenever Barrage do have this downstairs defense available for themselves once again, then yeah, that's whenever stuff starts to get piled on. Meads still running that Blackbeard, did manage to get a kill for himself that time, but we'll see if he can do some better damage potentially for this downstairs attack as well.
You know, this is a moment of great pride, I think, for the ESL Rainbow Six Premiership. We will be the last broadcast to have this bug occur, as Ubisoft have now patched in a fix for the spectator bug. No more connection too low, no more disconnects. We were the last one demo. That's how special we are.
Feels good.
I hope they send us a little trophy saying last survivor of the disconnect bug.
Don't think they give out those kind of trophies.
You never know.
You know,
you never know.
Worst caster of the year award.
Wow.
That thing.
That's pretty strong claim.
They may be too harsh.
Wow.
We'll give you oldest commentator of the year.
Oldest commentator of the year.
Yeah. Oh wait, no.
I don't know, mate. You've already put it. You never know what you're saying anymore.
Maybe that might be ex-scoundrel.
Yeah, he's an old boy as well. You're not wrong.
See how old he is next week.
Let me know when you start growing some facial hair. I'll buy you a medal or something.
Oh, yeah.
It'll take a while. Well, it won't take a while though. It's for this round to start. Let's not forget, it's still match point for Barrage as well. Yes, Unnamed had a very decisive last round there and had brought the score 5-3. If they win 2 more rounds, let's not forget as well, this goes to a draw and both teams walk away with 1 point. I think that's a result that Barrage would have taken at the start of the day and Unnamed would have been unhappy with.
Yeah, I still think that, you know, Barrage, I would say they're happy with a point at this stage, even if Unnamed do pull back. They're still happy. I think in a 5-2 scenario, when you've been playing as well as you have, winning 5 rounds back-to-back, if you then throw that away, you are going to feel pretty gutted. That's true. But then again...
It's like in football. If a team you support is 3-0 up, for example, and then suddenly the other team comes back and goes 3-3, even in a match that you thought you were going to lose, it still hurts and it still feels bitter.
That's kind of how you feel being a Manchester United supporter.
Yep, you know it. You know it. Not me, but Manchester United fans in general. Yeah.
What team do you support?
Villa. So let's not talk about this, okay?
Forgot about that.
It's a sore touchy point, okay? It's not good. We actually had this situation today where I think we were 2-0 up, and the game ended 3-3. Player got sent off. They just slapped us about. It wasn't happy days. That's the way we'll put it.
Feels bad, man.
Does feel very bad, but Unnamed probably feeling pretty good right now. They're in a 5 versus 4 situation. Yeah, for that Legion Dart. Gonna have to get it out. The Blackbeard so far at least providing some threat which they didn't have before.
So still half the round to go, plenty of time to beat out this utility, get down there, beat out Kizza with those smoke canisters, and again, I believe Wiz has used one of his C4s as well.
Oh, Wiz, that's say down to 1 HP, but just gets tapped out there by Madman at the very end of 5 versus 3. Once again, same story as last round. Unnamed coming up strong in these last few rounds. I'm sensing a 5-5 here, Demo.
Could be the case, but then again, we still will have 1 more round if it does go in Unnamed's favour. The way it's looking, yeah, they have the crossfires established. They're even trying to get some picks with the frag grenades that Madman you can see tossing on down. Doesn't manage to get anything, and doesn't manage to get that kill onto Willow as he swings on around and looks right up and manages to take the kill. And we did talk about the utility that they're going to have to start burning on the side of Kizza and his smoke canisters, and that's exactly what they will do, as he does only have 1 of those toxic babes left. Last one will be expended, and actually it's going to miss its target, but Mage will not miss his target, as Kizza will fall. So a 4 versus 2 diffuser gets planted, and this is, you know, what we're used to is once the diffuser gets planted, it is very, very difficult for these defenders to retake the bomb site.
Bizarre. Very bizarre round. It's such a huge mistake being made by Madman as well. Sprinting when you're in such a dangerous location like that, exposed to hatches, your gun's away. The amount of time it takes you to draw it back up to start firing is just going to find, no matter who you come up against, unless they're sprinting as well, they're going to have the advantage when it comes to guns, but the rest of his team come up big. I've got to give it to Jugger as well. This guy might not be, okay, he kind of is top of the leaderboard when it comes to kills. He's had a fantastic game so far. Some of these rounds, I'll probably count 2 or 3 now. Earlier on I was saying the same about Barrage, but for Unnamed, 2 or 3 rounds where he has picked up a couple of kills and basically dragged his team through, kicking and screaming into victory in that round.
Shady hasn't really done too much since those earlier rounds, I must add as well.
He looked so good earlier on as well.
It could be good because he switched over towards defensive operators, where sometimes players do perform better on what side they're attacking, but you need consistency in this game. If you want to be the best, you need to be consistent all the time. I'm sure we'll see that from Secret later on. You know, that's going to be the real, yeah. Look at these guys. These are the top dogs. These are what I would say all 7 of these teams want to be, is to be where Secret are right now. You know, very, very successful.
I got a question for you. Ready? It's going to test some knowledge for you now as well. Educate some of the viewers at home as well as me. In this situation where Barrage identify they're up against 4 breachers who deal with Castle Wall, why have they swapped the mute out for the castle?
Simply because, you know, again, you're not going to ever really not take castle barricades for this particular bomb site. They're not going to be taking the mirror, so castle's kind of that secondary kind of wall where, yeah, you deny access. Like you did say, yeah, the soft operators and the hard operators are going to be very, very strong, but for the most part, it's more of wasting utility. Would you rather them use, you know, a Sophia charge or Ash charge, should I say, on the castle barricade, or would you rather them use an Ash charge potentially on a soft wall to rush into the bomb site? It's kind of with that line of thinking, and once you know that castle barricade does get opened up, you know, okay, these guys are pushing from this side. For example, you've seen the castle barricade go down on that back door of the kitchen. If that castle barricade gets open from lobby, you know straight away it's going to be a lobby rush. That's kind of the thought process I would say Barrage are making, where they're going to try and, you know, gain that kind of early intel and that sound cue where, yeah, they're coming from this particular angle.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Professor Demo.
Yeah, sure. What?
Professor Demo.
No way.
For now.
Oh, okay then.
I mean,
are you Dr. Des?
I hear you're not doing too well at school, so I guess a rainbow 6 degrees is probably about as far as you'll get.
That's bad.
That's the best you got?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what the best Unnamed have got to bring again. If they
don't want to roast you too hard. if that makes
You've already
sense.
called me the worst caster, and that was kind of towing the line.
That's true. You could just talk about your age a little bit more.
You could, although no one wants to talk about that anymore. What we do want to talk about is the opportunity for Unnamed to bring this series back, though. 4-5. We're on match point. If they win this round, it goes to a draw and both teams walk away with 1 point each. Barrage win, they take all 3, but given how low a couple of the members already are, well, the work is slowly being done by Unnamed, slowly chipping away at those members, but of course it's the final kills that ultimately remove those guns from the field itself. There comes Madman swinging away at those castle walls, and that's where my concern was, that it's very easy to remove those walls.
Yeah, that's the thing about Sledge, is it is the perfect counter to, of course, a castle barricade, but the numbers advantage will be in heavy favour of Unnamed as they are set to pull back that very big deficit, and I think we may be looking at the first draw of the season as Meads will add another kill to his tally, and all down to Boogie, who really at this stage he can just pray that something happens for him. Does get one, but then automatically Meads will get himself a free K, and we don't know how they've done it, but Unnamed have managed to pull it back from 5 rounds to 2 down, and they do manage to take that draw against Barrage.
They managed to